Okay, welcome to Blue Girls Video Podcast. I have dreams for you today for September 2021, October 21. Yeah, so those two for sure. So the first one is knock on door. I had a dream of hearing a knock on the door. It was more like a pounding on the door. Okay. So September 10th, I am going somewhere else. September 14th, African-American guy. This dream, I was in a room sitting down at one of the tables of this place, which reminds me of a camp I just attended earlier this year. However, it was full of people sitting at the tables. I remember that most of the people there were African-American people. This one guy stood out to me in dream. There was this older lady there too. She told me about being somewhere at 2 p.m. There also was this other woman who was shopping, and she had this one bag that she brought along with her. There also is mainly Caucasian college men around too, although not for sure what they are up to. Heavy as the next dream. I had a dream of this one young woman who was hauling around her large, heavy suitcase. Telling about journal is the next one. I was in a room with a young woman and was telling her about my dreams. I mentioned the date of the first dream, May 5th, 2010. The room was a little dark. So the more I think about it, I don't think I have ever had a dream about discussing my dream journal or mentioned date. So one time I did this in real life. I went to my therapist appointment and I brought all my journals. I have 3 of them, saying these are my dreams. I didn't show her anything, but, I said, she's kind of surprised because there's so many of them, right? Anyway, okay, so the next one is going to be fly anywhere. September 22nd, they won't like that they did that. I heard this after my medical appointment was moved from October to January 2022. Yeah, because I told her, I said, well, I have to be screened for cancer. And, with that, you have to nip that in the butt right away. I'm on surveillance. And so, yeah. So anyway, slander is a word I got it. Fly away. It was my older brother's house, which it did not look like his house at all. My brother was at work when my high school friend came over. I had some suitcases, although they don't look like my current suitcases. I seem to have broken a lease and won't stay at Brothers because he'd want money from me. So I was going to pay $200 to fly anywhere that I could. No city comes to mind in dream. In real life, I am on a month-to-month lease. Okay. Carriage. I fell back asleep and took a long nap, so I had a vivid dream of one of the Kumo brothers and his daughters. They were all getting in this carriage-like thing, like Cinderella's carriage. A woman who did not know him saw him get into carriage. Traveling. This was a strange dream, but at least I had one. I'm not for sure if this was me in the dream or not, but a former friend of mine beginning with the letter J was in dream. So me or this other woman in dream was sexual with J. It was kind of odd because my friend was going to training in order to be a cop or security guard. She was wearing a uniform as she was getting ready for work. I remember thinking in a dream that my friend hated cops and had a criminal record, so how was she able to get into a training program? I was supposed to stay with my friend for one night and leave the next day. So I remember this dream. It was an old friend of mine who happens to be a lesbian. And so I was just like staying at her place for a night or two. I saw her like a couple years ago, actually, in real life, and then I didn't see her for 10 years. We had a falling out, which, happens from time to time with friends. So I'm glad that we saw each other, but I haven't had any communication since then. So anyway, she had like whatever, some girl that she was having I don't know if it was a girlfriend or a sexual relationship with. And then she was like saying that she wanted to be a security guard or a cop, which really doesn't make any sense because she's got a criminal record. So, and that's not really her forte. I mean, she's a big girl. She's lost weight, but still. So I don't know. Maybe that was her girlfriend or something. And I don't know if she hated cops. she just, she was a criminal, so, she can't really, be a security guard or a cop. It really didn't make much sense in the dream. So anyway, afterwards was traveling by myself on a bus. First was at a bus station, and for whatever reason, I wasn't properly dressed and wasn't wearing any shoes. I maybe just long, thick socks. I've had a couple of dreams and where I'm like taking a bus and I'm not wearing any shoes. I'm wearing socks, which is a little strange. I remember walking around bus station with just socks. Then I got into a line to wait for bus coming line 4 or 5. There was this large, cool African-American man in front of me in the line. They must have let me on the bus because the next thing I knew was somewhere else in dream while wearing shoes. So then was somewhere trying to get into place. It reminded me of a car wash. There was a guy there who was kind of assisting me. Not for sure why was at a car wash. The guy took a picture of something, then was walking down the street and saw some garbage on the street. A blonde-haired, thin young man was standing on the curb and asked him, where was I at? Like in dream. He said, New Jersey. In real life, have had no real desire to go to Jersey. But there I was in the dream. So yeah, I remember that. It was kind of like fall time, because I remember the leaves being a different color. And so I asked this guy in my dream, and I'm like, where am I at? Because I didn't recognize it. And the guy said New Jersey. And I have no interest to go to New Jersey. I think it's a garden state, right? I don't know. But I heard they're kind of loud there. And, well, I'm not really loud, but I do have a tendency to talk a lot. So, I don't know. I'm more laid back. I'm just not like really, in your face. Hello, here I am. So anyway, yeah, each his own, each his own. Okay, so the next dream is, okay, so now the dreams are for October 2021. Neighbor. All I heard in this dream was a woman moaning or yelling. Well, there's a big difference there. As if she fell down and couldn't get up again. Well, it must be yelling. Well, anyway, after a nap, my aunt and my mom, who are both deceased, were younger in this dream and were sitting on a chair across from each other in a living room. I could hear my Aunt Barbara, talking in dream. Well, she's passed on, but could not hear what she was saying. Then the dream changed and I had my own apartment and my youngest brother was there too. So I think he came to visit me. We also were both younger in dream. At the time I might have been hospitalized because I remember waking up while nurses were taking blood. I met a young guy who had a medium-length, light brown, wavy hair with possibly light eyes. He lived next door to me with a couple of male roommates. He also worked at a pizza place. So September 30th, I heard one of my neighbors yell, but was a man. Okay, so message. And the next dream, clear. A Mexican woman left a message on my voicemail. I can't remember the content of the message, except something went through by itself. Then I gave the phone to a young guy with blonde hair, so perhaps he could help me understand what the Mexican woman was talking about. It seems like he was installing some water built by some cords as well. So in real life, I was thinking about an old friend and then remembered an old dream that had of him. He came to my place. I'm not for sure where was living at the time, but I can see him walking up this hill. I am living in an upper level of an apartment. Message from mom. Dream. Last night I dreamed about my mom. This is like October 2nd, 2021. Okay, so she passed away in October of 2002. And this is 2021. I was sitting in front of this long, blonde-haired woman with bangs. I couldn't find my mom. They were going to take her and my dad and place them somewhere together, but the placement was based on a lie. I was sitting in front of this blonde woman, and she said my mom didn't want to live anymore, so I confronted her and told her my mom wouldn't say that. So then I tried to find my brother to have him intervene. So then my mom was right in front of me sitting in a van. I thought, oh, there you are. I saw my brother in dream as well. I also remember thinking that was glad was resident of current state. Okay, so I think this was basically my mom was forewarning me. She was forewarning me in the dream. So they were going to take her and my dad and put them and place them together. Well, they wouldn't do that at all because my mom was divorced when I was a preteen or a tween or whatever you call it in these days. So they were going to place her. I think this is a forewarning in the dream. Like I said, it was probably me. They were going to place me somewhere, but the placement was based on a lie. And so this woman said, oh, my mom didn't want to live anymore. My mom would never say that. I mean, she was very vivacious. She was full of life. When she was before she had her menopause, she was always happy. For most of the part, she wasn't really a person that was, down in the dumps. I mean, she had some issues. After menopause, I noticed a change in her. She was more depressed, but a little more. But she was just, very, very happy or a happy-go-lucky, vivacious woman who, for the most part, was usually in a good mood. So I didn't believe it. I think it was just a scam. They're saying, oh, well, she wanted to harm herself, and that's not my mom at all. So, like I said, so I don't know why my brother was around. So the next dream is support group. All right, so the next dream is support group. This one girl and possibly her friend has favor with this one Caucasian therapist. She attended a support group where about 10 people were sitting in a circle. It was nighttime because there was few lamps on in the room. People in the group could take time in the group to discuss personal issues. The girl really didn't want to talk and didn't know what to discuss. Then a Mexican man and his toddler had to leave the group because the toddler had a spot of blood on his head. Yeah, I remember this. This guy brought his kid into the group. I don't know why. And he was the only guy, I think. Food. I was with my former friend S and his granddaughter, and he was helping me transfer some food from a bus to another form of transportation. It looked like a black limousine, so there was a pile of food in an upper part storage area of the bus. The food wasn't in any bags, which I thought odd in the dream. It may have been free food because I recall grabbing whatever food I wanted from this upper storage area. So then I called my friend's girlfriend and was going to go to their place unannounced, and she told me that she was full. Then she asked me an odd question. So my friend and I were going to pay this limo-like vehicle to go to my friend's girlfriend's place like the limo was a taxi. Paranormal. It is happening again. Good news is got rid of the hisser growler, but beginning on the 1st of October, this fly was bugging me while I slept, and then even earlier, when I went outside, a fly was bugging me as well. Then the next night, this man kind of slided close to my bed. The next night, felt a male presence in the room again. I do not know this man, but it felt like he was Italian and was wearing a hat. So then last night, I don't know if it was two dogs walked on my bed. They walked like dogs, but then one of them started licking my hair like a cat. I don't know why this this always happens. I get strange things that attack me and some visit me while I'm in bed. Later in the month, this seemed to subside. In this dream, I saw Robin Williams standing somewhere by himself. It's October 6, 2021. I'm trying to think if that's before or after he passed away. It might be after, actually. I had this dream a couple of nights ago. I was with my youngest brother, and either he or I was really happy about something. Woohoo! Okay. So the next dream is going to be comes up. There's going to be something that comes up October 10th, 2021. Prior to this, I had a dream in which I vaguely remember there was this young couple, and I guess the guy was involved in shady deals and wanted this other girl to get involved, but she wasn't interested. He seemed to get his kicks of being shady. I can see this one girl looking at him and thinking, no way. College woman, come on, work. Okay, so this one young woman at college has a new boyfriend. She is working on some project in a small room with table. Think a friend of hers or sisters are on as well. So this other young female student is kind of has a crush on the young woman. She is kind of following her around a little bit. So the young woman whispers underneath her breath, Les. I'm not for sure if the two girls are even friends or not. However, the attraction isn't mutual. So I think that, yeah, they were in like their college dorms, you know, kind of where they reside. And so this one woman has a crush on this other woman. And so she, you know, she said underneath her breath, you know, Les, you know, and she was right there, I think. But I don't know if I don't think she was really discriminating against her. She just was not, she was straight. And so she figured out that this girl, you know, was following her around as a lesbian. So the next word is, I got, well, together, whatever is the word I got. And then red suitcase. All I remember about this is a young woman was right in front of a pile of suitcases. She starts pulling out her red suitcases, several of them. Also, I'm thinking of one of my brothers. I've had this dream before, but forgot about it. My brother was living in an efficiency or small room in a small building, upper and lower, older, run-down building, do not know location and dream. So anyway, someone from this young woman's life died at the end of the month. She didn't know about it until later. It might be a brother. I'm thinking of my second brother when I woke. October 21st, 2021. Red suitcases. Suitcase. After purchase, October 21st, whatever. Bad girl. Well, I was probably just condemning myself, right? October 22nd, leading the witness, paying, and then the dream is paying in cash. I approached the counter of, I'm assuming, a hotel. A man with dark frizzy hair was standing there, so I gave him a piece of paper with a confirmation on it, but it looked like a really old bill of $97. Well, that's really strange because, you know, there is no bill like that. But so I paid the guy $20 in cash. I remember giving it to him, but then I gave him $80 more, which I don't remember doing. For some reason afterwards, the guy didn't give me a receipt. Yeah, I remember that. So, okay, well, I said it. I get it. It was a really old bill for $97. And whatever, I went somewhere, whatever, it was, I paid the hotel guy. I don't know. Hi, S. Friend. A childhood friend of mine is sitting in a school cafeteria surrounded by mainly white students. I think it's supposed to be high school friend. Okay, obviously. So so then the last one for October is by car. I was traveling with some younger people, probably college-age students. I recall one girl being maybe Mexican. We were traveling by car. We crossed the border in Florida, which I didn't know we did. I assumed in the dream that we would cross the Mexican border, but it was Florida. So I remember this dream. So that's it for October 2021. And I'm going to do one more, try to squeeze in November 2021. I had several dreams, which I forgot. Most when I woke, I just remember this one young woman working as a teller. The other teller left because she wasn't getting enough hours. Okay, so we're November 2021. I also was at my friend's girlfriend's place. Her boyfriend, my friend, wasn't around. There was a couple of guys in her apartment. Then I remember seeing a photo of Hugh Hefner. I was in a room with two older guys, kind of weird looking, not in previous dream at all. They were discussing a movie and wasn't paying attention to their conversation. I did add, I think I saw that movie. It was kind of odd. The room seemed bare, or possibly a basement. Okay. October 28th, no one likes me. Late at night, shock and cover up. October 28th. Okay, so November, Tennille, I was on a top of a bunk by myself. A dark entity entered the room. There wasn't any features. It was just a silhouette of a dark figure. I felt startled after I woke from nightmare, fell back asleep. Then the dream changed and a Mexican-American man was sitting on top of a bunk bed with two of his kids. Both kids were white, not for sure if they were male or female, so it was seen through their eyes. Then their mom walks in and can see her clear as day. At first, she reminds me of Dorothy Hamill, but the more I thought about it, she reminded me of Toni Tennille from the band Captain Tennille way back in the 70s. She was taking a picture of her family. I felt physically boxed in the dream, even though I was not actually there. Surgery. Okay, this dream was actually part of yesterday's dream. The same young woman was a YouTuber in this dream. She seems to be going to different areas. That is all I can remember. Also, this wasn't a dream, but a word surgery. My knee has been bothering me a little bit, but not for sure if that is the surgery that I am thinking about. Flop house. I'm not for sure why I am calling this place a flop house, but anyway, there is a woman who lets all kinds of people stay at her house. The group seemed to be good people, like minded individuals who would come and go as they please at the lady's house. They didn't pay rent, but would hang out. I think my childhood friend brought me there. He later went off with some young, dark-haired girl. I think they went to a store. I mentioned the word drama concerning my friend's behavior. The woman may have been a relative, either mine or my childhood friend. Sometime during the visit, she was cuddling with another woman. Later during the day, I was standing outside waiting for a bus. It would take hours to get somewhere, possibly even all day. Also in the evening, saw the view from the house, lots of lights on. So somewhat big city. I thought it was California. Also, this woman who owned the house had a sister. Also was awakened hearing a noise on my nightstand. Okay, so I vaguely remember this dream. My friend had a friend, or it was a relative of mine, who knew somebody who had a house, and people would go there, and it was like a flop house. They would come and go as they please. They didn't have to pay rent or anything, but they probably just kind of pitched in for their food or whatever. And I don't think they were kind of there all the time. Like they did other things. Maybe they traveled, I don't know, but they weren't there, like just staying in the house all the time. They would come and go and whatever. So the next dream is black driver. So last night I had a dream of a black driver driving me all over this place. He seemed to drop me off at a bus station in the Southwest, which happened in real life. He was kind of odd because usually there are a couple more people in car, but it was just for the duration of trip. Same name. I was watching a series regarding missing persons case. Okay. Then I fell asleep. So I was in my bedroom, possibly a 2-bedroom. I came out of my room and there was a young woman with the same name of series. She was lying down on the front room flooring, fixing something like furniture. I went back into my room and couldn't believe I just saw M. It was as if I traveled back in time, and so went back to the front room to forewarn her of her disappearance in real life. This is November 7th, 2021. However, when returned to living room, a different woman in the same physical position was working on the same piece of furniture. So I then asked her where M was, and the woman told me that she was sick. So later in the evening, I came out of my bedroom again, and there were all these sex toys all over the living room floor. There were all these white women sitting on furniture in the living room, so I'm assuming they had an orgy. I was surprised because didn't recall hearing any noise at all. I am also assuming that had a roommate that was letting all these people in the apartment. So I thought to myself, I was going to call the cops and have all these women thrown out if they kept gathering at my apartment again. I think this apartment situation may have taken place in the Pacific Northwest. I forgot this part. So then I was on a plane, and it was pretty busy with a lot of people on it. For some reason, I wasn't supposed to be on the plane, so then someone shut the door, which doesn't make sense because there wouldn't be any door to shut besides the bathroom door. So anyway, I then opened the door and got off plane. Okay, so I remember this. It was probably the person with the same name. that kind of sometimes happens. Or so basically, I had a roommate situation, and there was a girl that was there, and then she was gone. She disappeared, and it could be an actual, not an actual physical death, but that, you know, she left or whatever. And then, then I was a roommate, and I don't remember who the roommate was. My roommate was, I think it was a woman, a younger woman, of course. But she would have like, all these people come and kind of hang out at the apartment, and I didn't like that. And so I think I said, whatever, I don't want, all these people in the, all your friends here. So anyway, that was a dream. Okay, guest at an Airbnb, fell back asleep, had another dream. This dream was pretty strange. So I think I was staying at an A&B of an older lady's place. I was supposed to be there for only 2 days. It was sunny outside and was dragging around my oversized bag to bring to a pool. I do not know why I was dragging this bag around all day and why I just didn't have a suitcase with me or use a duffel bag to go to pool. So then I forgot my razors and thought, how am I supposed to go swimming now with my hairy legs? But oddly enough, there was a retail stand at an airport that had daily essentials that there were, so I got my razors. So I'm walking my way to the pool and went up to that one counter to get information to get into pool. On my way, I saw the side of a mountain like Kentucky, and several guys were there. Then as I was walking across the street, I spilled possible spaghetti sauce on this one woman's kitchen wall and cleaned most of it up with a rag. My youngest brother appeared and told me that it was cleaned up. Later, was standing in a crowd, and for whatever reason, I left my oversized bag on the sidewalk. So an old homeless woman was around and assumed it took my bag. This also didn't make any sense. Why would I leave this heavy bag in a crowd? And then it was too heavy for a homeless woman to take it. Anybody to take it, unless you were a physical big guy. I think the Airbnb woman was helping me a little bit. I never made it to the pool. I remember seeing the pool. However, later in the dream, some maintenance guy was working at the pool of the woman's house. I think upon returning home, 2 foreign guys were sitting in the back seat of me. It could have been a plane or even a train, but they were explaining something to someone. One guy said he was old, which I thought odd in the dream. I remember thinking that I'm maybe older than him. So throughout the dream, it was just lugging an oversized suitcase around on a very sunny day, no coat at all, and dream was thinking the dream location was Florida, but could have been anywhere with warmer weather. However, I'm sensing it wasn't desert, but more of water, ocean, even though did not see either one in dream. Okay, so that's going to be it. I wasn't able to really finish October, the rest of it, so I'm just going to have to start then next time. Oh, November, I mean. Okay, well, thank you for watching.